I never imagined the hardest thing I'd hear from my own mother would be, "Your sister needs us more than you." Those words echoed in my mind for weeks. Growing up, I always believed families protected each other equally. I wasn't jealous of my younger sister, Emma. I celebrated her birthdays, helped her with homework, even defended her when classmates were cruel. I thought we were a team. But somewhere along the way, I stopped being their daughter and became the one expected to sacrifice everything. When Emma wanted my bedroom because it was bigger, my parents told me to move into the tiny guest room. When she crashed my first car after taking it without permission, they told me to forgive her because she was going through a difficult time. When I graduated from college with honors, they skipped the ceremony because Emma had a dance competition that same afternoon. Every disappointment came wrapped in the same excuse: "She's your sister." I swallowed my feelings for years because I kept hoping one day they'd notice how much I was hurting. Then came the moment that shattered whatever hope I had left. I had spent months planning a small engagement dinner with my fiancé Daniel. It was supposed to be the first time both families met. I was nervous but excited. The morning of the dinner, my mother called. "Emma just got promoted," she said excitedly. "We're throwing her a celebration tonight." I laughed awkwardly. "Mom, tonight is my engagement dinner." There was silence. Then she sighed. "Can't you move it? Emma's promotion is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity." I stared at my phone, unable to believe what I was hearing. "My engagement only happens once too." Her voice became colder. "Don't make this about you." I hung up before she could say another word. Daniel squeezed my hand across the table. "They'll come," he whispered. But they never did. 4 empty chairs sat untouched all evening. Friends kept asking where my parents were. I smiled through tears and lied. They had an emergency. But what I didn't know that night was that my family had already decided I would always come second, and they had no idea how much that decision was about to cost them. After that dinner, something inside me quietly changed. I stopped calling first. I stopped apologizing for things that weren't my fault. For the first time in my life, I wondered what it would feel like to choose myself. A few weeks later, my father called. His voice sounded unusually cheerful. "Emma's getting married." I forced a smile. "That's wonderful." "We'll need your help," he continued. "You're good with planning events." So that's what I became. Not a daughter, not a sister, just free labor. For months, I designed invitations, booked vendors, negotiated prices, decorated venues, and solved every problem that appeared. Whenever Emma took credit, my parents praised her creativity. Whenever something went wrong, somehow it became my mistake. Daniel noticed everything. "You know they're using you." "They're family," I answered automatically. He looked at me sadly. "I hope one day you stop confusing love with obligation." His words stayed with me. 3 days before the wedding, I finished organizing every detail. That evening, I received an envelope. Inside was my wedding invitation. Except, my name wasn't on it. Instead, there was a handwritten note. "We've decided it's better if you don't attend. Emma feels your engagement might distract attention from her special day. We hope you understand." I read it 5 times. My hands were shaking. I called my mother immediately. "Is this some kind of joke?" She sighed. "Sweetheart, Emma doesn't want any unnecessary drama. I planned her entire wedding, and we're grateful. But I'm not invited. It's just one day." One day, as if years of rejection could be erased with those 3 words. That night I cried harder than I ever had. Not because I missed the wedding, because I finally accepted the painful truth. They weren't choosing Emma by accident. They were choosing her over me. Again. The next morning I called every vendor. I didn't cancel anything. The contracts belonged to Emma now. I simply transferred every payment responsibility to the people who had signed the final agreements, my parents. Until then, I had quietly covered thousands of dollars using my own savings because they promised they'd reimburse me later. Now those invoices arrived all at once: the florist, the photographer, the catering company, the luxury transportation service. By evening, my phone exploded with calls. Dad shouted, "Why are these bills coming to us?" "Because they're yours. You embarrassed us." I took a slow breath. "No, you embarrassed yourselves." For the first time, I hung up before they could answer. The wedding happened exactly as planned. At least, that's what everyone expected. 2 days before the ceremony, several luxury upgrades disappeared. Not because I canceled them, because my parents couldn't afford the outstanding balances they'd ignored for months. The expensive flower arrangements became simple bouquets. The live orchestra became a playlist. The luxury cars became ordinary rentals. Guests whispered all evening. Emma blamed everyone except herself. Then the truth quietly spread. Friends discovered I had organized almost the entire wedding. Relatives learned I had personally paid thousands of dollars while being excluded from attending. Suddenly, the story changed. People stopped asking why I wasn't there. They started asking why I had been treated that way. For the first time, my parents couldn't hide behind excuses. A week later, they came to my apartment. My mother looked exhausted. "We didn't realize how much you did." I looked at her gently. "You didn't want to." Dad lowered his eyes. "We made mistakes." I nodded. "You did." There was a long silence. Finally, Mom whispered, "Can you forgive us?" I thought about every birthday they missed, every achievement they ignored, every tear I cried hoping they'd finally choose me. Then I smiled, not with anger, but with peace. "I forgive you." Her face lit up. Before she could hug me, I quietly added, "But forgiveness doesn't erase consequences." I wasn't saying it to punish them. I was saying it because I had finally learned my worth. Daniel and I married 6 months later. Our wedding wasn't extravagant. It was filled with laughter, honest love, and people who actually wanted to celebrate us. My parents attended quietly. This time, they sat in the back. Not because I wanted revenge, but because respect has to be earned. Today, Emma and I rarely speak. I don't hate her. I simply stopped competing for a place that should have been mine all along. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't making people suffer. It's building a beautiful life without waiting for the love they refuse to give. And that's the lesson I carry with me every day. The people who truly love you will never make you beg to feel like family. The moment you choose your own peace over someone else's approval, everything changes.